here, so just drop your name, drop a little comment in the chat, and we'll say hey. But yeah, we're talking about second shooting today and being a second photographer, an assistant photographer, all that kind of stuff, and how to be a really great one. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, if y'all have any questions, just drop them in the chat, and I'll bring them in when it makes sense. But yeah, Emily, wait, do you have? Oh, I do. That's cool. On YouTube, I have my logo on there. It popped up with the little logo in the corner, and I was like, "Do you have your logo on your on your screen?" But no, it's just mine.
I do. Oh no, I have my logo on my YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, did it pop up on this recording?
No, it was mine. It was it's one that I don't use. It's like not even my secondary logo. It's just like a badge that apparently I uploaded to YouTube. So whenever we go live, it just throws it up there. But it was on your side of the screen, and I was like, "How did you get your logo on the screen? That is so cool." But yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, Emily, let's get started. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to chat about this, and I know like we've got it's a little bit not really meta, I guess, but like you have second shot for me before, and now you're going to be talking about how to second shoot, and like and I know we talked a little bit about like your whole like the way that you started second shooting and all of that, which is so great. And I am messing up my tabs. I just accidentally pulled one off, and I was trying to get it back on while I was talking. So that's why I was like all scattered. But
okay.
Welcome to the show.
My little thing also says my internet connection is reconnecting. Should I be concerned? Should I try to load up my hotspot? Because it keeps on giving me an error that it's on a bad connection. It says trying to reconnect. Are you still connected?
Oh yeah, you're starting to break up a little bit. We could do that if you want.
Can I switch to my hotspot real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
I wonder if that will. Sorry, this.
No, you're good.
This is what you get for living out in the country. We got slow internet. If it's still, I'm excited too. I know that.
Oh, dang it. Hey, no worries. We're good. This is the fun of live podcasting. Y'all get to see the back end of all this.
How about now?
Ooh.
Is it better now?
Oh yeah, that's much better now.
Is it better? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what
there are 2 of you though. Oh no, now the other one's gone. Okay. Old Emily's gone. Okay, sweet. Yeah, okay, you're good. You're good.
Yay. We love getting the malfunctions out of the way in the beginning. No,
it's good to do that.
Well. Yeah, I'm excited too. I know we had talked in December when I had second shot for you, and we had started talking about like that journey and what led to me second shooting. So thank you for having me today as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, take it away with either like questions or if you want me to give like a little brief info. Little bio.
I would love a little bio, but before that, I do have a question from a listener. And I did this yesterday too. I didn't pull this up in preparation. So, okay, here we go. The question is, what is your middle name?
My middle name is passed down from my mother's side. It is Louise, Louise.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Is that like your mother's mother or great grandmother, something around there?
It's my mom. My mom is Cynthia Louise, and then her mom is Betty Louise. And then her mom also is a Louise. And it's actually ironic that my dad's mom is actually also Betty Louise. So both of my grandmothers actually named Betty Louise. And then I feel really special. I have two older sisters, and so I was the third one, and I got bestowed the middle
You
name.
got the
So
Louise.
I love my middle name. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
We so Louise is also a family name in our family. My wife's uh, grandmother is Louise. So we had also thought about incorporating that as a middle name with one of our kids, and
Yeah.
we kind of do now. We went with a different middle name for our oldest daughter, and then now we just call her Liddy Lou for like Lydia Louise, but but it's not like official. But that's really cool that they're like middle name, like everyone's middle name is the same, kind
Yeah.
of going down.
Yeah. No, I love my
Yeah,
middle name. Yeah. Plus,
nice.
it's
Okay.
short with Wischnewsky. My parents had to give us short names with a
Yes.
Wischnewsky last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't have like so many syllable names and then have a really long last name too. Because like Mansfield is a decent last name. It definitely takes up a lot of characters, and yeah, we gave our second daughter, third child, four names, and I think altogether it's like 28 characters or something. And we were like, this is a lot. This is going to be quite a bit when she gets to like kindergarten and they're practicing writing their full name. It's like, yeah, you're going to need like 2 pieces of paper. Sorry, kid.
2 lines.
Uh, but okay, well, sweet. Yeah. Give us a little, I love that. Ariel was the one who sent in that question, and she had talked about on Instagram how that was like she always loves hearing people's middle names, and they're so like different and unique, and just kind of bring in more character. And I love the family ties in yours too. But yeah, give us a little bio of you, where you're based, and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Emily. I am 32 years old. I am a wedding and portrait photographer. I'm also a web designer, and I am a published author of my own photo book. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and I lived there practically my entire life. I went to school at A&M to be a teacher. I was a math and science teacher. And my goal was always to like purchase a house back in Houston. That was like a dream of mine. So I lived in Houston up until about 3 years ago. I sold my house, and after I went still full time with my business, and I now am in the center of Austin and Houston. So I'm living with family right now. So where I'm based out of, like if you go to my website, a lot of it is still Austin because I visit there more frequently, but I still got my Houston ties. So
yeah.
and
Okay,
then
that's
I'll
cool.
still travel also everywhere in Texas. So we love a good travel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, living in Texas, you kind of have to. Uh, it's always fun, like talking to like my DC photographer friends, or like friends up in like Delaware or something, where they're like, oh yeah, if it's more than 30-45 minutes from my house, I'm not taking that wedding. I'm like, oh, if I did that, I would not have a
Never.
business. It would not work.
Seriously.
That's cool. What's one of your, I know this is a little tangent, but hey, we do this here. And I lived in Austin for like 15 years or so. So what's one of your favorite places to shoot in Austin?
Ooh, that is a really great question. So I would say my top two, I love shooting at the Wildflower Center because I just love the nature scenes there. There's so many opportunities for like indoor and outdoor. And then I also really love Bar Mansion. I love the glasses that their reception has. And then also the options for like outdoor, like their outdoor ceremony next to that really big tree next to the house, but then also in that other like side building. So I think those would have to be my top two.
Nice.
Favorite venues,
Those are great. I like the glass windows, and just like all of that. It's just, it looks so great at night.
The
And
string lights too.
in this, yeah. Oh, I am a sucker for string lights. If you have
Yeah.
string lights, like especially under a tree, I'm just like,
Yes.
all right, we're gonna be doing all your photos out here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is I
Yeah.
don't make the rules, but this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Uh, that's cool.
Absolutely.
One of my favorites, which I wish that I knew about it sooner before I left Austin, is I think it's called Mayfield Park.
Oh yeah,
Um,
nature preserve with the
the
peacocks.
nature preserve, yeah, with all the peacocks.
Hmm.
And yeah, I did a family session out there for one of my, I don't know, probably like 2013, 2014 couples. And we went back out there a few years after that. And yeah, it was just like so many peacocks around. There was like one albino peacock that was just like all white feathers, and
Hmm.
it was crazy. And then all the just so much nature and so many
Hmm.
blooms. And I think it was like May or something. So everything was like fully bloomed, and it was really nice. I would love to go back out there. Maybe I'll take the family out there and we can just
Oh
have a fun
yeah,
time and like take our own photos and that kind of stuff.
that's a 10 out of 10 recommendation. I was just there last week after a courthouse elopement,
Oh,
and
nice.
they didn't have too many peacocks. They honestly only had like five, so I wonder if they had their little house. But such a cool
Yeah.
place
Oh,
for
yeah.
adults and kids. Like really, truly, that little garden back there is just really cool too. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And all the little ponds and like lily pads and stuff they have there too. It's just,
yeah.
it's so much fun. And like for a photo shoot, having something like that where you can like, it just brings in natural things for like your clients to look at and interact with and
Hmm.
get like those natural photos instead of like just an open field where you have to do a lot more of the creative thinking on top of that. It's just like a
Hmm.
place like that. I'm like, okay, this is great. It's doing half the work for me. I love it.
Yeah. No, it is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
spot.
Okay. So with those venues and everything, like
Hmm.
shooting weddings. I know you. Could you give us a little story? I know you've talked to me off camera whenever we
Hmm.
were photographing a wedding together about your whole like journey in second shooting and all of that. Could you give us a little story time about like how you started that and just like how you really built uh, a second photographer kind of business where you were very busy? Because I get that from a lot of people of like, I want to get into the wedding business, but I don't know how to reach out to people to second shoot. How did you go
Yeah.
about doing that?
Yeah. So my story is kind of one of the phoenix rises from the ashes, and it really starts with a heartbreak. In 2021, well, also for reference, I had officially started my business in 2019. I
Okay.
was teaching at the time, and the year before that, I had worked in corporate for a year. Um, I had been in teaching for 2 years, and I was like, if there's something else that I want to try, I'm going to try it now. So
Hmm.
I went into the corporate world, and I was there like social media manager and a digital marketing specialist. And I did that for a year. And then a spot at my old alma mater school showed up for teaching. So I went back there. This all has a point, I promise you. We love tangents.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I'm wrapped in the story already, so we're good.
yeah. So 2018, I go back to teaching, and I thought I was like invigorated. I was like, yes, I'm gonna keep doing this. I had started my photography business while I was in corporate. I was like, I love teaching, and I was like, I love working with kids and like helping them, and it was so much more fulfilling than working at corporate. And I go, I'm gonna go back to teaching until I can take my photography business full time. And in the year, like that fall of 2019, I was like, this isn't it. I was like, you're really miserable. And I was like, I think you should just go full time. And I was like, just do it. And then the pandemic happened, and then we
Mhm.
really didn't have to go back.
Yeah.
So I launched it full time, and I was also just taking kind of like odd, not like they weren't in the wedding industry per se. Like I was their in-house photographer for a mortgage company, so I worked with a lot of realtors there. So long story short, and like 2020 and 2021 was really when my relationship, we were together for 5 years, it really started to dwindle. And we lived in that house together. It was my house. I had purchased it. And in 2021, I really just needed to cut ties. And I really wanted to stay in Houston because those were my roots. That's
Yeah.
where I was getting referrals. My business was picking up. But at the same time, I was like, I couldn't live in that house anymore. And so when I had sold it, I paid off all of my student loans. So yeah, I got profits from that house, but I immediately paid off student loans and kind of started from ground zero again. And not also did I start from ground zero, but I moved from where I started my business. I moved back into with my parents. They are in a small little town right in between Austin and right in between Houston. And I had this dream of becoming a destination wedding photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, you have to have portfolio work. And
Of
I was like,
destinations.
yeah. And I was like, we're just going to do it as we go. Everything's going to be fine. And at
Uh-huh.
the end of 2021, I had my website on Squarespace. And I was thinking to myself, and I was like, there are weddings being booked right now. I may not be getting those inquiries, but other photographers are. And at that point, too, when I had moved in with my parents, and so I didn't have a mortgage anymore. I paid off my student loans, so I didn't have those. So my expenses were relatively low, and my heart was still so just completely broken. I
Mm.
also didn't want to market for inquiries either, because I was like, who wants to come to a client? Like, I'm like sobbing. You don't want me to photograph your wedding? Like, no. So I was like, but I could second shoot. So that's when in 2021, I built that landing page on my website. It was like a resume style page. Cause you've seen like the Facebook groups and everything, like, oh, I need a second shooter. And so
Yeah.
everyone will just post a photo. So on that page, I had put like all of my gear, my equipment, my experience, and portfolio links. And that's what I would post in the comments. And I started getting a lot of feedback. And then at the end of 2021, I just got so delusional. And I was like, I'm going to start like very Gary V. I think you're into Gary V too.
Oh yeah,
I
love Gary V.
started my own Excel sheet, and I actually calculated how many emails I had sent out. In the past 2 years, I sent out 188 emails. I looked on Google and I looked on Instagram for like Austin wedding photographers, like Houston wedding photographers, and just saw who came
Mm-hmm.
up. And I would email them, and say, hi, my name is Emily. I think your work is really great. I was curious if you're looking to add a second shooter to your team. This is a resume page that I created with like stats, gear, portfolio. If you think we'd be a good fit, please let me know. I'd love to work with you. Hope you're having a good day. And with that, I completely booked out my 2022 and I stayed completely debt free. I mean, yeah, again, I was taking on probably maybe four. Actually, that's not true. Yeah, I would say like even with the leads that I had, I still had maybe like 4 to 6, and in busy season, I'd have like sometimes 8 to even 12 like second shooting gigs. But that was my 2022, and then I know that this was a long tangent, but to go into say that like leading forward now in
Mm-hmm.
2023, I started associate shooting at the end of the year. And then I've had so many people when I send them that website, they're like, Emily, your website is amazing. Who created it? And I was like, I did. So now in the fall, I started my like web design business, and I'm actually really trying to help like other people who are on this road as well create that like digital home, so that even like you don't necessarily even have to be a photographer, but like any like virtual assistant, right? Anything
Yeah.
that you're trying to get information and your services on a page. So that was a long-winded to say that was for second shooting, but I will say too, like there were photographers who like some of them I only worked with a handful of times, and then there were photographers who like they continuously put me on their schedule too. So
Yeah.
um yeah.
I've got to say that landing page that like the portfolio and had all the gear and some of your work and just like had a lot of your personality in there too. That really sold me on hiring you, because it was so different than everyone else who's just like, in the Facebook groups, just like, oh, I shoot Canon, so here.
Yeah.
And this is like, okay, and then there's like a link to their Instagram page,
Yeah.
and then yeah, seeing that page that you had put together, I was like, oh, like Emily's a professional. Like I know, like just from this, I can trust that she's going to be great, and you were, and it was great, and like that kind of. Um, I see a lot of the same people in Facebook groups often, just like jumping on there whenever people are needing second shooters and just being like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's my gear list or whatever. And you might have like that saved as a note or something on your phone where you can just like copy it and drop it in there. But
Mm-hmm.
having an automation kind of thing, not really an automation, but where you're not having to send them like a portfolio link, you're not having to send out all your gear list, you're not having to send out anything like that over and over again. It's just like all in one place, just put it together one time, and then it's so much easier and well put together. Like those kind of things just make life so much easier, um, doing all that. So yeah,
Well,
I really love that page.
I appreciate it. And I think that that also comes from my background of being an educator. No, like
Mhm.
I am used to having 35, 12-year-olds that I have to teach math to. So knowing
Yeah.
that like I need a single page to send. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I find that like I love how like outside the industry life like weaves in a lot with our like how we run our business. And I have found that like so many like high school teachers, middle school teachers are so well organized, with everything. Like there's another podcaster friend, Layli Amadi, who now has her own conference and everything where she teaches and brings in other uh, conference speakers. She was I think a high school dance teacher.
Mhm.
I know she was a dance teacher. Don't remember if it was high school or not, but like talking to her about everything, it was just like, oh, this is so well organized because you have to be with like keeping track of so many students. And
Mm.
it's just I don't know, I think that it's great that sometimes as entrepreneurs we kind of like sever ties with our past lives and our like corporate job and everything, like, oh no, I am leaving all of that over there. But sometimes like bringing in that kind of stuff into your entrepreneurial business can be super beneficial just like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, taking away, there's something to learn from every experience. So absolutely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say to someone, other than like creating that page and kind of getting that together? Um,
Mhm.
how would you prepare or guide someone in preparing to second shoot for somebody?
That's a great question. So let's say that they've never photographed or let's say that they've never either second shot or even
Mm,
photographed a wedding, right? Or better, let's say again, this is the first time that you're working with someone. So, like they've already reached out, they said, yes, we'd love to have you on for that day. I would immediately then reach out and offer a discovery call. And on this discovery call, we can talk about like your manual preferences, if there's any do's or don'ts, or if there's anything 100% that you want me to photograph on that timeline. So like discovery call would be one. Also, I am a nerd and I took notes over
nice.
pinpoints because I am. This is I'm not telling a lot of people, but there is going to be. I'm getting back into my teaching roots, and I'm so excited that this podcast came up because I want to create a course as well for second shooters. But I digress.
Okay,
Preparing
I thought you were going
so
to
many
say
questions.
you're getting back in your teaching roots, and there will be a quiz at the end of this show. And I was like, I was not prepared for a quiz. I'm sorry, I was not. I'm just
No,
sipping my coffee and chatting with my friend Emily right now.
this is a participation grade, okay? Participation
Okay,
grade. No,
okay.
you're good. No, also, okay, another thing when you're preparing to second shoot, research their work. So for example, like if we're
Mhm.
working together for the first time, I'm gonna go to your Instagram and your website because I also want to see, okay, are you more about capturing happy emotions? Are you more really
Right.
into the artistic? Are you doing natural light, artificial light? Another thing to do is text your lead either the day before or the day of to say, like, hey, John, just wanted you to have my number in case you need anything. Hope you're having a good day. Because it builds that trust, right? All of these
Mhm.
little tips are also like little things that add up that in the end, when you add them up, they stack up. Um, Also, another thing, if you're working for someone the first time, ask them to send or ask if they have any full galleries that they really love too. Because it's important to know as well. Like, I'm very documentary style. So even if I'm not like quote unquote posing you for a photo, I'm going to have my
Hmm.
camera out and I'm going to get like the mother of the groom smiling at the groom who's getting ready. Little things like that.
Yeah.
Um, Time syncing as well when you're working with someone, like time sync your cameras, and then easy transfer file. So again, like, it's great to know if someone works with Canon, but like at the end of the day, you still need my raw images. So what's the easiest way that I can give you my stuff at the end of the night? And
Hmm.
then last but not least, when you're preparing, like for me, if you're on time, you're late. And if you're early, then you're on time. So same
Yes.
thing too, like your first impression matters a lot. Your first impression in email, on the phone, and in person can matter a lot. So that's what I would do to prepare if you're second shooting for someone for the first time.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like as as a lead photographer, like I give my clients the timeline of like I'll be arriving at 2 p.m. and we'll start with, detail photos and like y'all getting ready and just kind of like candids and stuff like that. But I'm not showing up at 2. Like I'm going to get there earlier than that. One, to just like unload all my gear, make sure cards are formatted and ready to go. But also, I want to get there before I have to like be quote unquote camera ready and just go like say hi and
Mm-hmm.
see how they're doing and just chat a little bit and not so much like come in, cameras blazing and just like, all right, we're doing this. But just like be able to come in slowly and also, if there's travel involved and all of that, most of my weddings are not like local, just a couple minutes from my house. I'm traveling, an hour and a half or more. This
Mm-hmm.
weekend is like 2+ hours from where I live. So I've got to build in all that extra time. And it's always good to arrive early. And that is really important as a second photographer too, because I've also second shot for other photographers. And yeah, showing up early just adds so much value and so much professionalism as a second shooter of being like, hey, I'm here early, do you need help with unloading your car, do you need help with whatever, I can go, fill up your water so you have that for the rest of the day, or
Mm-hmm.
do you want me to go start taking photos of everyone in the bridal suite and then you can go do details outside or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were like, what do you want, what do you need me to do? And I was like, yeah, just like go get details of the venue. And you were like
Yeah.
so thorough, like some of those details I was like, this is great, like this is just ivy on the wall, but I'm totally going to use this like in their
Yeah.
whole thing. Plus that venue is just like covered in
Yeah.
ivy, which I love. um,
The storytelling.
but storytelling, yeah, it all comes together. And yeah, that kind of preparation, I know it is difficult to like leave on time
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, especially like I've got 3 kids. Saturday mornings are crazy because everyone's wanting different foods and wanting to watch cartoons and shows and all the things, and we're trying to like have family time together, but I'm also like prepping my gear for the wedding. And if I don't tell myself I need to leave earlier than like the last minute, then I will
Mm-hmm.
leave the last minute or after that, and then I'm
Be late. Yeah.
late showing up. So yeah, I love that. That was a great you know if you what did you say, if you're earlier on time,
Yeah,
uh
if you're on
that's
time, you're late. If
yeah.
you're early, you're on time. Also, too, like the
Yeah.
lighting on that day. Like I want to be an expert at what
Hmm.
locations around this venue also are already really great too. So
Yeah.
just and my thing too is that like because I same thing, right? Some people are like, oh, your exit's at 10, but like, can you? It's 10:05. My kind of thing is in the long run, right? Like post editing, actually this is too much of a tangent and doesn't really matter. I was just going to say I also don't like being rushed. I don't like being rushed, and so
Oh, I don't
i
either.
i will spend more time up front, you know what I mean, rather
Hmm.
than I'm not on the clock. So anyways, but that's just a personal
Right.
preference. Yeah.
Yeah. Me
This is
too. I know that some people are just like, nope, I clock out at 10 p.m. That's my 8 hours. You have hired me for that, and I'm out of here. And
mm,
I'm like, yeah, if the wedding day is just like it's all over the place. It is alive and it is doing its own thing. And sometimes that is like we got to push the exit 15 minutes,
mm,
or they're just like, I know we got to do this, but like I need a breather before we leave. And yeah, being flexible, I think, is it adds to the client experience so much.
mm,
As a lead photographer, as a second shooter, there have been times that I have been a second shooter and the lead is like, hey, they wanted to add an extra 30 minutes, are you okay with staying extra? I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like, I'm
mm,
flexible. We
mm,
can do that.
mm,
And yeah, I just think that's really good. I
mm,
love that advice of like preparing for second shooting. And like you mentioned earlier about like about Facebook groups and finding people there,
mm,
and also like just Googling photographers in whatever city,
mm.
and sending out your 180 something emails. Uh, what other ways did you find people to second shoot for? Because I feel like a lot of people are just like, joining these, like Austin area wedding professionals, and
Mm.
then they'll just like throw out a random like welcome kind of introduction post of like, hey, I'm looking forward to second shooting for y'all, hit me up if you need anyone. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm here.
I see those, I'm like, I'm not going to remember to come back here and like search for this to send this to you.
Yeah.
How would you recommend kind of going to find some people to work with?
Yeah, that's a great question because some of those Facebook groups are so big. And you are right. Some of the threads are like 100 deep where you
Yeah.
feel like you're never going to get looked at. But a couple of things is, I mean, first, you have to set yourself aside from the others who are also putting your stuff in there. So the first thing is like, no matter what you're posting on, no matter again, like if you're emailing or putting in a group, you only have that short window. So like
Mm,
try to make yourself a little bit different. But on the lines of like how finding people, also Pinterest. Pinterest, yes, is a fun
mm.
like boards, but it is a search engine. And
Oh yeah.
so because and thinking about it here is like when you're using, let's say again, Google search, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, some of the best photographers have thousands of Instagram followers, right? But they are not ranked on Google. And then
Yeah.
some of the best photographers are ranked, but they don't care about their social medias at all. And then sometimes too, Pinterest is some people do really well with their geo tags. So again, let's say for example, if I really wanted to shoot at Bar Mansion, then I'll go to Pinterest and like look at what photographers have shot at Bar Mansion. But and then I try to put myself in the customer journey of like a wedding couple, like finding a photographer. Like how else would I find a photographer? But for me, those main things were Google search, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Oh, actually, one I forgot
Hmm.
one, but they sunset it. If you know
Oh.
HoneyBook, the CRM system for
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so for the listeners, if you're not familiar with HoneyBook, it's a way that you can do like proposals, contracts, invoices, and they also had a what is it called? Like an opportunity section where you could post like, "Hey, I need a second shooter." So, but they don't have that feature anymore, unfortunately. Sorry,
I
HoneyBook.
know. I
But
was really sad because that was one of
no,
the things that I really loved about Honeybook was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, it's got like this built-in community of other people using Honeybook.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah,
I'm sure they have
as
their
a
reasons.
tangent, I am curious to see how that offset their subscription rates because that was a huge reason why I left to Dubsado, but that's another story. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then also another way, if you wanted to get really intense, you can go to like Instagram, right?
Mm.
And go to a favorite photographers and look who they are following and look who
Mm.
is commenting on their posts. Because a lot of the times too, like for example, like me and Jess, right? Jess Golden, like we'll hype each
Yeah.
up on our Instagram. Same thing over there.
Right.
Like, so you can get into these little networks, and that's how 50% of my 2022 was literally all word of mouth, because I worked with one photographer who told me to another photographer who told me about that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, because we do that all the time. I was
Mm-hmm.
just at a wedding expo, and one of the photographers there was just like, "Hey, my main second photographer is moving, so who are you using? Who do you
Mm-hmm.
trust? Because I've used so and so, and like they showed up late, or I had to, text them to remind them, hey, you've got a wedding with me this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and others, and I was like, oh, I've got a list where I've got my favorites. This is good. So, but yeah, like that kind of word of mouth
Mm-hmm.
is so great.
Mm-hmm.
Which like to have that word of mouth, you have to really I don't want to say perform well, because it's not like a performance, but you have to like serve well at,
Mm-hmm.
just like as a lead photographer you are serving your clients, as a second photographer you're serving those clients, but you're also serving the lead photographer too, and helping um, do whatever they're needing. Do you have any suggestions or anything that you kind of like go through in order to be like a great second photographer on the day, other than just like, rather than being like just another camera angle and just like, okay, I'll do this and now I'm gonna go sit in the corner until you tell me to do something else?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, aside from getting different angles, um, using maybe a different focal length than your lead, maybe doing
Mm,
a portrait if they're doing a landscape, like aside from that, I think you nailed it earlier when you're talking about client experience, because when you go into second shooting, and if you've led a lot, I look at it as like you are practicing your customer service right now. And so
mm,
I'll look at it as their clients, and like I try to put in my mindset that like they're also my clients. I want that couple and their family and friends to have the best experience, because that's also what I am practicing. So let's say like I've second shot almost 90 weddings, right? If on the 91st wedding, that was my wedding, I'm going to be repeating the patterns that I've just practiced for those 90s. So I think it goes down to customer service, in a
mhm,
sense of like, let's say, for example, the mother of the groom is about to be pinning on the boutonniere to the groom, and you can just tell she's really frazzled, right? And like maybe she's not used to wearing her hair and makeup, like maybe she's not used to it all. This is also just me, right? Because some people don't like talking to people or making small talk, and I just have also like that type of personality, but like
yeah.
talking to people, making yourself seem more human, I think is a way. And like, because you're a part of the day as well, people will walk away saying, wow, did you remember the photographers at, John and Emily's wedding? They are so nice. They made
Hmm.
me, how did you make people feel? Is that you, the doorbell?
That is me, the
Okay.
doorbell.
Do you need to go get it?
It's probably just like a
Okay.
UPS package or
Are y'all
something.
are on spring break still, right? Y'all were spring break last week.
We were spring break last week, so yeah,
Okay.
everyone's gone. Yeah,
Okay.
if they continue to knock on the door, I'll take a brief break, but no,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay. Um, yeah, and then that was also my thing, was like kind of karma as well, right? Like, there will be another day where like I'm gonna have to have second shooters more on my team. You can go get it if you need
Yeah.
to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna see who
Fingers
this
crossed.
is. It might be my neighbor because they got my mail yesterday,
Okay.
and maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah,
So
do
I'll
your
be
thing.
back.
Okay.
Have fun looking at my wall.
Also, you know what? I'm gonna tell a really fun story. Let me think of one where um not like a one particular comes to mind, but I'll tell you the experience of like I'm the youngest of three, so I have two older sisters, and I just remember like on their wedding day, and this was also like 10 years ago, right? My sisters got married in 2011. I just remember that like the photographers seemed so distant, and they didn't seem like they were a part of the day, and they've made it seem like, oh, I'm just there to get the photo and then I'm done. and they weren't documenting those like fun little interactions. And again, maybe it's because they weren't a documentary photographer. Um, but I think how you can be more than just a angle and like a as a second camera is like helping tell the story throughout the day. And even John had talked about how like when I got there to second shoot for him, I had started doing the details of like the outside, and really just like helping again tell the story from that day and helping tell the story that those two individuals like they wanted to create this experience for their guests and their family. So I just wanted to help again like tell that story. Another one that you can really elevate the experience overall is being really nice to the other vendors, right? You don't know who is watching you. You don't never know who's watching you. And so when you give a great experience with the other vendors as well, like complimenting the florists if she's right there. Sorry, I've just been getting more with complimenting the florists as she's going through. And also like if the other wedding planner is having an issue, like if you're hands free, you can help the wedding planner too. You know what I mean? I was just talking about how you could still go above and beyond that experience for being more than a second camera. And I was talking about like how you could also help other wedding vendors too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
good enough that I'm just the photographer. Like, anyways.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. And that is so great. Like I love it whenever like I'll see my second photographer over there like getting or even like culling through images later and I'm just like, "Oh, they got like behind the scenes of the florist putting out like the head table floral display." And like that's so valuable for the florist. Um and yeah, I don't know. I might get interrupted again. We're getting fiber internet, so it'll be faster. Um, but they were supposed to arrive 2 days from now, and they are here now.
Hey.
And yeah, so they might
Okay.
need me to do something. I don't know. I was just
No
like,
problem.
I don't care where you put it. You
Yeah.
just anywhere in the house, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Yeah. Just make it fast.
But
No,
yeah.
we have no shortage of topics we can cover.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But no, I love that with like going even like being proactive and thinking about more than just being a second angle. It goes so far and as a lead photographer, like that is going to be something that I'm going to ask you back to second shoot with me again because that's above and beyond what other people do. Like, you know, yes, I'm hiring you to be a different angle and to get, you know, different like whenever the couple's getting ready in different places. Like both of us can be there with them and getting those photos. But yeah, that like it adds so much value that you will definitely be getting that call back of like, hey, I also have this wedding available.
Yeah.
Are you free?
Yeah.
Um, so cool. I love that. Is so good. Any last things? I know you've like already shared so much, but any
Mhm.
last things before we kind of wrap up our conversation?
Yeah, I would say that if you're wanting to go above and beyond as well, get behind the scenes videos on your phone for your lead. And at the end of the night, airdrop them to them. So as I go throughout, like I try to get at least one 10-second clip from each highlight throughout the day.
Mhm.
So, like we don't have to go through each highlights, but you get it. And
Yeah.
also too, this can be downtime. So let's say one more thing that I had thought about was like when you're getting those different angles. Let's say that John, you're like fluffing the bride's dress and you're getting them set for this very like portrait style, big landscape, like wide. While you're fixing her dress and like curling her hair, I'm gonna keep getting those tight shots of like the groom or like their partner like holding them, you know, like their hands, like maybe just smiling
Hmm.
at each other. So also getting those, but I think the biggest any other takeaways I would give for listeners would be to get behind the scenes for your leads because that's something that they're gonna make you call back as well.
A
Um,
100%.
get on top of like it's not the fun part at all. It's my least favorite part, but like finances and like categorizing expenses and getting legal for LLC, it's gonna save you so much time in the long run. And then the last one that I had put was Google My Business. Like just starting it to where, because one day you may not second shoot anymore. Like maybe one day your business takes off and you are only leading, but like just even though you feel so small, just like start now. You're going to be thankful later. If that makes
Yes.
sense.
Oh yeah. It's like, I mean, anything with that just like it compounds on itself. Like you hear from financial experts all the time of like start investing, like open up a 401k or an IRA or something now, because it's just going to continue to grow and compound. And like, even if you're just putting tiny little bits in there every now and then, in 5 years, it's gonna have so much more than if you waited 5 years and then you're like, oh, well, now I need to start search engine optimization. Now I need
Mm-hmm.
to like do a whole Google My Business and creating a website and all of that. It's like, nope, if you can do little baby steps and little tiny bits in there, it's just gonna keep growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love that. And yeah, that getting like an LLC or at least like your DBA or something to where you are
Mm-hmm.
a legal business. It is so important because technically, like as a contract employer, like I think in Texas, if you make less than $600 from a specific person or company, you don't have to file taxes on it. But like if you second shoot like twice, uh, you're most likely going to be over that $600
Mm-hmm.
already. And yeah, uh, and that's all stuff that you need to be thinking about that you might not really know because you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, well, I don't own the business. I don't have to do all of this. This is just like, extra money. It's cool.
They
And
they
yeah,
love
the government,
taxes.
they know. Yeah, we're recording this like a
I
month
know.
before tax day,
Oh yeah.
and it
Yeah.
is yeah, it's coming up. I think I'm gonna have everything finished before April 15th this year, which would be great.
Nice.
um, it's not fun. I'm a numbers person and I love all of that, but like this last year I let everything slide and I didn't keep up with my bookkeeping like I normally do.
Uh-huh.
And like I'm a weird person. I like taxes and I like figuring out like deductions and all of that. So I do
Uh-huh.
that instead of hiring a CPA.
Ooh.
And yeah, this year I was like, I probably should have hired someone whenever everything got so stressful in 2023, but instead I did not. And now
That's okay.
it is
Hindsight.
crunch time.
It's 2020. No, I feel you on
Yes.
that. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
It's the same maintenance at the because I usually will do it
Hmm.
at the end of the year, but my goal for
Uh-huh.
this year was like we're gonna do quarterly because it can
Yes.
be jarring at the end of the year to be like you owe this much in taxes and like
Hmm.
we love it. Cool, cool, cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Emily, this has been great. Before we kind of get into where people can find you and all of that,
Mhm.
and just say hey and that they love the show. Um, I want to talk about what we're loving this week, and this can be literally anything: movie, TV show, book, whatever. What are you loving this week?
Well, I'll give you a quick three. So I have a favorite
Love it.
recipe that I've been cooking. It's super basic. It's Brussels sprouts, bacon, and Honeycrisp apple, which doesn't sound like it would be good, but the other three, they're
Yeah.
delicious. Um, some favorite books that I'm reading. Actually, I have them here too because I'm a nerd. But this one is called Wild Interiors, and it's
Mm.
about how you can use like different plants in your home for decorations.
Oh.
And it also gives like
Okay.
table spots of like best plants for like lighting and everything. We're just trying to bring a little more here. And then my other one that I love is called Collective Wisdom. And it's actually just a book of interviews of women over 50 years old. So it has like just like little questions about they're just like interviews again. But
Hmm.
these are the two that I'm really loving for that. And then
Okay.
a quick one for movies because I know you would enjoy this with the kids at home. These
Okay.
three are one. I like to take myself on movie dates like once a month, like go to the
Hmm.
movies. So
Oh
the
yeah,
ones
yeah.
that came out last fall were Wish. Did y'all see that one yet?
No, but yeah, we've seen all of the like the toys at the
Okay,
stores.
nice.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's something on our list.
Yeah, Wish was good. Migration was that little animated, like the ones about the ducks going through New York
Yeah.
City. That one was really
Okay.
good too. And then
Okay.
obviously Barbie. That one was just really
It
I
was
love
so
Barbie.
good.
It was
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
We
it.
need to, I don't think that's on any streaming anything yet.
I don't think so
Maybe?
either.
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't
But
know.
whenever it is, yeah, we're definitely watching that again because we saw that in theaters. We did the whole Barbenheimer
The weekend, yeah,
dual thing,
yeah.
and that was fun. But yeah, okay, that's really cool. And I love the that Wild Interiors. I'm definitely gonna check that out too because we have been talking about that. Like we've tried to incorporate like different, like throw a snake plant over here in the corner or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just to have some sort of like greenery
Uh-huh.
and like actual living plants in our house.
Uh-huh.
um Unfortunately, a rogue soccer ball that was not supposed to be kicked in the house took out that snake plant a couple weeks ago. So, and just
No.
like snapped all of them. I was like, we'll see if we can like propagate this
Yeah.
and grow a new one. But
We're
those are
trying
not
it.
turning out great right now, which I don't really know what I'm doing. So,
You know what?
um,
Actually, one thing, get
mhm,
milkweed. Y'all can plant them, or you can keep them in their pot outside because
okay.
it is about to be in a couple weeks monarch butterfly season, and the kids would love watching that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. We are planning for later this week to go to a nursery and like pick out some things for the house.
perfect.
So we'll
Yeah,
get some
get
milkweed.
perfect. Yeah,
Okay. Sweet. Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. What am I loving? I'm something I'm loving today. It's not any like media type thing. But I'm loving this. I guess it's like an essential oil type deal. I'm not one of those like Young Living salesperson people,
Mhm.
um, but I got it from my massage therapist for my allergies. And like before we started recording, like literally as I was hooking up the lights and everything, my nose was so just like stuffed up and like I sounded like this and I was like this is gonna be terrible. but but I just took a little bit of this stuff called Breathe Again and just put it on my chest and it's just it smells really good and I love it. And someone who has had like chronic allergies most
Mhm.
of my life, it is really great to be able to breathe really easily. And yeah, like we'll throw that on our kids whenever they're you know having a hard time going to sleep, and then they just it just I don't know what it is in it. I don't even know what it's made of, which I should
Put it
probably
on.
look into that if I'm just like putting it on my body. But but it
It might
works
be
really
like
well.
a might be like a Vicks vapor type where it's just like that. That's so
Yeah,
great because especially like College Station, y'all are it's like below sea level, so I feel like y'all it's so much
it's
pollen. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
it's
lot
in
of
that Brazos Valley, so everything just kind of like settles.
yeah.
And
I
yeah,
love
it
it.
is it's pretty bad. I don't know whatever it was in Austin. I'm allergic to that more because I had to take allergy medicine like daily
Yeah.
just to barely survive. And the moving here is not as much, but still, it is this time of year, spring, and everything is coated in that nice yellow green pollen over all of our vehicles and stuff outside.
Yay.
So yeah, that's what I'm loving this week. I'm loving being able to breathe.
Yeah. Yay. We love it.
But yeah. Okay, Emily, where can people find you? Where can they follow along and check out your work, listen to your podcast, all of those things?
Yeah. So I would recommend going to my website. It's emilywisch.com. Wish is spelled Wisch. But on my website, you can go there and it's immediately going to be, you can go to my photography side from there or my web design there. From my homepage, there's also a link to sign up for my monthly newsletter. So I recommend sending that out the first of every month. I send out just a really fun newsletter with either coupons that I'm running for sales on my print shop or information about sales for my portraits and weddings. And also a lot of other fun things too, like favorites and a word search. I added a word
Nice.
search in my monthly newsletter, so we
Oh,
love it.
that's fun.
But yeah, and then I'll put any updates too. Jess and I had started that podcast in last month. So it's
Uh-huh.
like very, very new. And then I also have my one that it's not also monthly, but my Wish You Were Here podcast. But I would say my website, emilywish.com. And
Okay.
as well too, if anyone has any questions, my address is on my contact form. So like, feel free to send me questions about second shooters or leave them in the comments. And yeah, I appreciate you having on me here, John. This was so much fun, and I'm excited. We're working together in like what, couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
it'll be
early
fun.
April, I think. So yeah, by the
Yeah,
time this
that first
airs,
week of
we will
April.
have just worked together. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to get to work together again. It was a really fun and like very unique wedding. And I feel like this other one is too. I've been getting a lot of those just kind of like very
Like
non-traditional
non-traditional.
kind of weddings,
Yay!
which is like the header of my website. So that makes sense why I'm booking those more now.
Yeah.
It works. SEO works.
Well,
But yeah, awesome. I will have links to all of those things in the show notes. So yeah, listeners, y'all can go check out Emily and go follow in all the different places. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed chatting with you virtually
yeah.
today.
Oh, can I give one more?
Yeah.
This is also, I forgot to mention, this is also for anyone who ever wants to create a book. So while I do like portrait photography, I also do, where did it go? I also do nature photography. This one was from Big Bend. Where did it go for this one? But if you are interested about like print shop stuff as well, feel free to reach out for questions too, because we love it. That was my last one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have that in there too. That's very cool. I've been wanting to do something like that. So I will probably hit you up about how you go about like creating your own book and publishing and all those things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So sweet.
All right. Well, good luck with the
cool.
fiber internet. You're gonna have it's
Thanks.
gonna be so nice having fast
I
internet.
can hear them drilling, like tearing up the ground outside. So I should probably go check in with them. But yeah, thanks for being on the show. Thank you everyone for tuning in live, and we'll see you